This is the 2022 Maruti Suzuki Brezza, not the Vitara Brezza and certainly not a new generation car. It retains much of its silhouettes, much of its plastics and materials from the older version. But what's new are the tons of cosmetic updates. There's more tech, there's more features, there's a new powertrain and a new gearbox. But would that mean that Maruti gets to retain its top spot at the subcompact SUV space? Well, that's why we are here in Chennai to test the car. My name is Pratik Rakshit and you're watching Car and Bike, and before we tell you more about the car, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we go live with a new automotive video. The Brezza's exterior design is much more urbane, progressive than before. It is still rugged, no doubt, but adds a tinge of class to it now. Let's start with the face of the car. The grille is now wider than before and the gunmetal finish that you get around it looks very imposing. There's also decent amount of chrome thrown around it. The wide but flat bonnet gives it a very upright stance, which is all a giveaway for a proper SUV. Lower down you get these redesigned bumpers. You also get these silver skid plates, which also adds to its rugged appeal. The headlamps are dual LED projector lamps, which are nicely stacked, and you also get LED treatment for the DRLs. Lower down you get these LED fog lamps, which are nicely nestled, but both the LED treatment to the fog lamps and the DRLs are only optional for the higher spec variants. Now moving to the profile of the car, the silhouette is pretty much the same as the previous car. You get these squarish wheel arches that are more in size. There's more area that has been occupied, but that also adds to that rugged appeal. The cladding that we found on the front is also retained in the side, and this also adds to that SUV appeal, that rugged do-it-all appeal. The 16-inch wheels are the same, but you get a new dual-tone treatment to these alloys, which looks very sporty, but down the trims you get 15-inch steel wheels, which is not a deal breaker, but something that you will have to compromise. But apart from that, the dimensions, the proportions are pretty much the same. Now, looks are subjective, of course, but I've kind of started liking how the rear section of the Brezza looks. In fact, most of the car makers in this space have gone for that quirky, trendy looking rear section that goes beyond the C-pillar. So you get these nice, clean looking LED tail lamps with a gloss black finish, but this is only restricted to the higher trims. You get these huge Brezza lettering, but the font is actually good. It's a nice touch and I really like that fact. You also get this 360-degree camera over here that displays your parking sensors, what you see in the display inside the car. The smart hybrid badge over here denotes to the part petrol, part electric motor. Lower down you get these black claddings and the silver skid plates, all adding to that rugged appeal that you can see all around the car. There are 9 colors on offer, 6 single tones and 3 dual tones, but the latter are optional on ZXi and ZXi Plus variants. Maruti is also offering special exterior design packages, namely Terrascape and Metroscape, adding design elements that gives a whole new character to the car. Overall, the design is distinct, looks contemporary, and certainly stands out in a crowd of SUVs. Much like the recently updated Baleno and even the XL6, a lot more work has gone into modernizing the cabin of the Brezza compared to its predecessor. The dashboard design is completely new and the car now comes with a dual-tone black and brown scheme. Lower trims though get an all-black theme. The steering wheel, instrument cluster and a 9-inch Smart Play Pro Plus touchscreen infotainment system are new and remind you of the Baleno's cabin and are pretty much the same in functionality. The Brezza is also now more tech-laden than before. The top spec variants get Suzuki connected car tech with more than 40 features, while music is now handled by Alchemist sound system. The electric sunroof is a welcome addition, A little too late maybe. A 360-degree camera, wireless charging and a heads-up display are all part of the top spec trims. The car always struggled with space for rear passengers, so Maruti went back to the drawing board for a solution. Now, in terms of rear seat spacing, Maruti has said that there is more space here for the rear passengers, and how they've achieved this is by making the dashboard much more compact than before. So what that does is it liberates more space for the passengers, the front row passengers as well as rear row passengers. So there's more knee room, there's more leg room, there's ample amount of headroom, and even shoulder room is pretty much okay. And it's not as compact, as packed as it was before. Obviously, seating 5 persons here is going to be an issue, but 4 people, 2 in the rear row is going to be quite comfortable. In terms of features, you get rear AC vents finally in the Brezza, and apart from this, you also get these 2 charging sockets. One is Type C and one is Type A. The Brezza is now powered by an improved version of the 1.5-litre K-series dual-jet petrol engine coupled to a smart hybrid motor. This unit generates 103 brake horsepower at 6000 rpm and 137 Nm of peak torque at 4400 rpm, paired to a 5-speed manual gearbox and a new 6-speed torque converter. We had both the versions on test with us, but it was the automatic that I had my eyes on. Now, the biggest issue that I had with the 4-speed torque converter in the older Brezza was the fact that it lacked that initial punch. It wasn't very rev happy, and the slow shifts made that drive extremely dull. That is sort of now sorted with this 6-speed torque converter with paddle shifters. I say sort of because it is still hesitant for a quicker throttle response. So if you want to overtake, it does take some time to get in sync with the engine, with the power that is spooled. The Brezza still aces on the city front. It rides smoothly and offers a nice and comfortable experience for the passengers. The low-end torque is ample to navigate in the city, but things are slightly different on open roads. In city driving, it is perfectly fine. It drives very decently, it's very comfortable, the NVH levels are quite refined, and the cabin noise is extremely low. But on the highways, the gear spread takes a bit of time because it does not have that refinement. It lacks that finesse that you would probably need from a new gearbox. We have seen this also on the XL6. We faced the same issues. It did not have that exact urgency that you would need on a highway for a pleasurable drive. But then again, as most Maruti cars, these are tuned for comfortable, more fuel efficient drive. So that's probably why if you want something sporty, it still does not match. I then switched to the manual version. Power delivery is linear and quite free-flowing beyond the 2200 rpm mark. Gear shifts aren't exactly crisp, but maintain a nice refinement. I was mighty impressed with the suspension setup on both the cars. In fact, the car managed to gobble down broken roads with ease at speeds between 60 to 90 kmph quite comfortably. Body roll is still there, but not as much as before. Overall, the driving dynamics have improved. Not substantially though, but won't upset you on daily commute or even on longer journeys. The car now gets support from its smart hybrid motor and start-stop functionality. However, the figures of close to 20 kmpl on both these versions could have been better, since Maruti pitched this car for its high returns. The 2022 Brezza is now smarter than before thanks to more than 40 connected car features. There's no wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but instead is wired. But you would be pleased to know that charging can now be done without a cable. But these features are limited to only the higher spec models. 6 airbags, reverse parking sensors, ISOFIX child anchorage are all part of the ZXi Plus trim only, and so are the tilt and telescopic steering. The Brezza is now expensive than before. Its starting price of 7,99,000 rupees is at a premium over its closest rivals, both the Hyundai Venue and the Tata Nexon, by almost 50,000 rupees, while both these cars offer diesel options as well. But the Brezza has its own fan following, and more than 7 lakh units sold since its debut is a testimonial to this. With the 2022 update, Maruti has managed to do away with plenty issues in the car. It is feature rich now, gets a whole bunch of connected car tech, a sunroof, heads-up display, and of course the new engine gearbox combo. Seems like it could be an instant hit. The design is trendy, but would be interesting to see its presence on road once the sales get going. Overall, the 2022 Brezza has enough in its arsenal to take on the Koreans and anyone in between.